Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I was like weird about that. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I've already done this video before, but I love how intelligent I am sometimes. I deleted it. I deleted the videos off my camera because I thought I had already put it onto my laptop. So that's why we're here again, and then we're filming it again. That's alright, because to be honest, I didn't really like how it came out last time. So I guess everything just works out the way it's supposed to work out. Let's start with what we're doing to my face, and then we can focus on everything else, because I don't want to get too concerned. So I'm feeling like dark something. Maybe eyeliner, or we will figure it out as we go along and you guys will see what I end up doing. I think maybe because my hair is straight, so I'm kind of feeling like maybe we'll use this and just, I don't know, we'll keep things a bit darker because I'm really feeling that at the moment. So let's get started. I am already wearing a bit of makeup because it is like I am home from college now and I'm filming it now. But I barely wore anything today, so I'm just gonna sort of build on what I've already put on. I'm gonna go in with some concealer. This is the Boing concealer from Benefit. Let's start talking. So today I want to talk about, as you've probably seen from the thumbnail, I want to talk about things like toxic productivity, workaholism, and that sort of stuff, because being back at college has definitely reminded me of that. Let's say that. Not to get into my personal life too much, because I know that's not what you're here for, but I definitely have been, my workload has definitely increased, and I feel like I'm falling into these patterns and ideas and stuff. And I thought it'd be good for me and good for all of you who are also, you know, back at work and back at school and stuff, just to make sure you don't overwork yourself, basically. There is this whole thing that I'm sure you guys have seen everywhere, and it's hustle culture. You know, you know those men that like shout really angrily at the cameras, and they're like, you know, hustling is the way to like be successful and stay on your grind, and like, here you can have all 6 of these cars and just work, bro, like you can do it, you can get where you want to be, just like really like shouting at the camera and stuff. And that's obviously a very like explicit form of like how you can like notice hustle culture, but it's basically this idea that like, don't set aside time for leisure and stuff, because you're not going to get where you want to be. That's why like you're not achieving any of your goals, because you're taking time doing things that aren't gonna like progress your career or progress some aspect of life that is going to give you a profit and a return on something. So it's usually careers and working for yourself, and don't work for a corporation, because then you're working for somebody else and stuff. And that is a whole, one person that I think covers this really well is this YouTuber called Tiffany Ferg. Put her name here. And she does, she's a commentary channel. She just does it in a really good format. She just talks to the camera. She has tons of sources and statistics and things like that to back up what she's saying. And she goes over hustle culture really, really well. Probably better than I could. So I suggest watching her video on that. I'm going to go in with some bronzer now. Hustle culture can really lead into toxic productivity and workaholism, and it's just this whole vicious cycle of working. It's like, if you like, these ideas and stuff make you feel like you only have worth and value if you're working, and if you're spending all your time on trying to be more and more successful And I'm saying successful because within these ideas, successful is rich or financially free and things like that, but that's not what success is for everyone, obviously. For a lot of people, I think what one of the misconceptions people have about millennials and my generation, I'm Gen Z, is that like I don't think people realize that like what we want in life is just to be comfortable. Most of us don't actually want a Ferrari and a mansion and like all these things. We're like, can we like own a house? Can we like buy a car? I'd love to have like windows in my studio apartment, that sort of thing. And obviously that's not the same for everybody, but that's like a big misconception that people don't realize, that we have a lot of instability in the world right now, and that's what we've grown up with. And obviously, yes, there are so many factors that aren't tough in our lives now. So many issues have been resolved to an extent, not completely, but we have a lot of other issues. Tensions are high between countries and the economy is not in great shape, especially now with coronavirus. But even before, like the fact that like we're just told you're probably not going to be able to own your own house, you're probably not going to be able to buy one day, and that just be like, okay, well, I guess we're just supposed to take that then. And the world that we've been brought into with politics and issues about race and the environment and climate change, and now this pandemic. You know, I was born just after 9/11, and that was obviously a huge thing for like my parents' generation and millennials, but I lived in a world post 9/11, and everyone I know grew up in a world post 9/11 where terrorism is such a huge thing. And so there's not a lot that we want. We just want something in our lives to just be stable and okay. So sorry, I kind of went off topic then. But yeah, that's what a lot of people my age would define as success, and that's what a lot of people older than us don't see. They just think of us as super entitled and, you know, what do you know about the world? You don't have problems. You to calm down and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so this whole idea only gives us worth if we're working. And, you know, of course it does, because and there's such big ideas and ways of living because of the capitalist society that we live in. Capitalism profits of us thinking that we need to be working 24/7, and you know, they really ingrain it into us. You know, even I felt like I've always had to be doing something. I'll be sitting there and I'm like, you know what, I want to do my nails now because that's something I want to do for myself, but I can't do that unless I'm, you know, watching some French videos, or I'm listening to a podcast that's going to educate me, or I'm doing something, like I can't do something I enjoy unless it's in conjunction with something valuable, because doing something for myself and my well-being isn't seen as valuable in this society. Very quickly, I just contoured a little bit, like it's not really even a contour because I can't do that, but now I'm gonna go into my eyes because that's what I want to focus on today. I'm just going to use bronzer on my eyes and probably just do a bit of a liner, maybe make it a little bit smoky, I don't know, we'll figure it out. Going back to what we were just talking about, our society has conditioned us in more ways than I think most people realise to think that it's okay to constantly feel like you have to be doing something. For example, it's so common now for people who work outside of their houses, like my parents work from home, and so like I don't really see it in my house as much, but like I know of it, but people's work sort of following them home. You know, it's so normal to like carry on responding to emails and bringing some stuff home for you to do. It's so normalised to carry on working once your shift ends. Also, homework. I know this might not seem like a, how is this going to relate to toxic productivity when you're 30 years old and stuff, but it does, because you know, some countries like Scandinavian countries don't, I think it might be Finland, don't give homework unless it's like finish what you've done in the lesson or just revise your content and stuff, which I think personally is the way that it should be. But we're given tons of unnecessary homework. It's actually so unnecessary, especially like for me, pre-year 9, so much of my homework was unnecessary. Like, spend 4 hours making a poster, and like, how is that actually really gonna help me? I could have spent that time doing something else, maybe catching up on the work that I didn't do in that lesson because I was talking or something, and then my punishment for talking is having to do homework when I get home. Things like that, normalizing having work follow you home, and unnecessary extra homework and stuff, that all just like conditions us to think that like it's fine to constantly be working, and that's how it should be. And so I don't know why you guys are complaining, because it's normal. And also this whole thing of like value comes from working and stuff, and you can only be successful if you're constantly working, is one way that like capitalism really shames the poor. They're shamed for like being lazy and not working hard enough. I'm gonna pause 1 sec and just concentrate on doing this because I can't talk at the same time. So yeah, back to shaming the poor unnecessarily. They're painted as people who are lazy, clearly not doing enough to improve their financial situations, you know, they're spending money on the wrong things, and they have to, you know, budget your way to financial security sort of thing, which there's only so much you can budget. But yeah, this is what I really don't like about capitalism, is that it just makes the rich richer and keeps the poor poor. You can be too poor to get a job. You can be too poor to apply for a better paying job, because, you know, maybe the hours are longer and you can't afford for childcare if you have children. You can't afford to pay for some form of transportation, whether that's a car or the bus or the train, to get to your job. You know, unpaid internships. That's just a way to filter out all of the low income people, because not everyone can afford to spend 6 months working for free. Not everyone can afford to do that. Only people who have high income, or have people who are paying for them, like they're not financially dependent on themselves, they're financially dependent on people like their parents or something, like they can afford to go and take an unpaid internship, and then they can, you know, really progress higher and higher in their company because they've done something like an internship. Another thing that just goes to show that like low income people are just so treated so much differently to higher income people, it includes fines and, you know, like speeding tickets or parking tickets or something. Like, a fine literally means that it's legal for rich people, because if I'm earning 50,000 a year and I get a £50 parking ticket, it's alright, it's 50 quid, it's fine, I'll pay for it. No skin off my back, is that the saying? Oh, it's fine, like I can just pay for it and carry on with my life and nothing will be different. But for somebody who earns a lot less, that £50 is like a huge amount. Could be, you know, like their shopping for that week, like their food shopping for that week. It can be so much more, and so it affects them in so much more negatively. So that's why I say it's like legal for rich people. What is the biggest repercussion they face? Really, they have to pay £50, but that's not really an issue for them. I'm just gonna go in with this side of my brush and just like smudge out the bottom and my wing and stuff. This whole idea of like just work hard and like you'll get where you need to be, like the idea of like, yes, we live in a meritocracy and just, you know, keep pushing and you'll get exactly where you want to be. Lies. Sorry, you can argue as much as you want, but you know, there's things like racism, classism, sexism, I could go on and on, that stop people from progressing in their careers. Did you know, this is just remember this fact, but there are more companies that have a CEO named John than there are companies that have women as their CEOs. And it's not because women don't want to be CEOs and women just want to stay at home. No. It's because we're actively discouraged to want to pursue jobs like that. Okay, I'm almost done now. I've just got to do mascara and something about my lips. But this is what I've got so far. It looks weird because of that angle, because if I go straight on then my eyes are like... I've just done a wing on both sides and sort of dragged it down my waterline. I think moral of what I'm trying to say today, I know I haven't spoken about a ton, but I feel like I've already gone through a lot of my issues, especially, you know, this whole capitalism versus socialism thing. I don't want to keep repeating myself for you guys, but there were just some extra things that I thought would be important to talk about. And obviously, like I said, I'm back full-time college, coursework, exams, that whole thing again. So I'm really like seeing the difference, how much more time I spend on my work, like, and you know, with my blog and stuff as well. Like, it is really hard to find balance, and it's really hard. It's easy for people to say, just, you know, time management, like, and then you'll get everything done and you'll have time for everything. Like, yeah, but also it takes time to time manage, you know. It takes time for me to sit down and fully go through everything I need to do every single week and assign an hour for this and half an hour for that. Like, I end up just, you know, doing it as I need to do it, especially because my deadlines are always different, they're always changing. A big thing, that's something that we can all do, is not play into this whole thing of toxic productivity and stuff. We need to take breaks, and our worth and our value comes from things other than just how much are we working. You know, it's so normalized to be like, oh, like, I was up until like 3 AM doing my work, lol, and like, that's like just such a normal thing to like not sleep. And you know, also this whole coffee culture thing, like, oh, I had like 3 coffees today because like I was up doing this assignment or this essay or something. Like, that's something that we really need to stop, because it's really not, it's not gonna help us in the long run. You know, there's all those, I remember watching all those videos and stuff for GCSEs about revision and things like that, and it's like, you know, you should have like half an hour of work and then a break, and half an hour of work and then a break, and then like a 15-minute break, and like loads of breaks. But that's like one thing that's telling us to have breaks. The rest of society is telling us keep working. Like, who, excuse me, you're taking a break? No. Go back and keep on working. So yeah, slowly we just need to try and break down these things that are so ingrained into our heads. So it's going to take a lot of time, but hopefully, I think one of my goals for this academic year, I know it's already October, which is crazy, but really just be more mindful of how much I'm working, and if I can time manage to an extent. Again, it's like budgeting. There's only so much budgeting you can do to be financially stable. There's only so much time management you can do to find a balance of some sorts. But that's something that we do need to do, and we need to stop pressuring people to just keep working all the time. You know, some of the most successful developed countries, people just sit there at their desks, you know, on the internet, replying to unnecessary emails, going to unnecessary meetings that they don't need to go to, just to make their work week 40 hours or something. I mean, it doesn't need to be that long, and it just leads to more procrastination, and it leads to more self-hate because, oh, I'm procrastinating, when it's a very toxic cycle that we need to start breaking. And also, I just wanted to say to all the procrastinators out there, because I am one of you guys, I recently listened to a TED Talk podcast about procrastination, and you know, when I think of procrastinating or procrastinators, I think of like someone who's lazy, who like puts off their work because they don't want to do it or they can't be bothered or whatnot. But when you think about like how you procrastinate, what are you usually doing? Tidying your room, organizing something, doing another task instead. If you weren't doing those things because you were putting off a task and you were just doing those things anyway, that would be seen as something productive that you were doing. So it's not that procrastinators are lazy. I think it's more, you know, a lot of procrastinators are perfectionists and they fear not doing something perfectly, or people fear failure and failing what they want to do. Let me see if I can find that podcast because it was really good. I also had Margaret Atwood, is that her? I think that's her name. She wrote The Handmaid's Tale. It's called The Real Reason You Procrastinate, and I think it was a collaboration with Work Life. I don't know, is that the right way around for you guys? I'm not sure. That was quite a ramble of things. I tried to make it structured as I can. This is the final thing. You can't really tell that I've done anything on the camera, but you can in real life. I hope you guys can try and see what I'm trying to say. Today's been a wild one, and I just wanted to film this video because I want to edit it right now. But I really, like I say every time I do one of these, I really enjoy making these. And please, if there is anything you want me to talk about, let me know, because I'd be more than happy to do that. I don't know if I'm going to make another one of these for a while, just because it's been taking up a lot of like what I've been putting out for the past few weeks, and I want to make some other videos and like instead. But I don't think this will be the last one. Just give me things to talk about, guys, and I'll do my research and stuff. Again, I've been constantly adding to my Pinterest board. My Pinterest will be in the description below, with my Instagram and my TikTok and my website. Oh my god, I forgot like the most important one. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed listening to me ramble about how our society is detrimental to our mental health, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Mwah.